Hey, doggies. Stoney, let's go. Let's go.
Come, Stoney.
It's a beautiful morning for farm work. Guys, today is going to be one of the busiest days of the year so far here on our farm. We got to make hay while the sun is shining, as they say. I'm going to take you around. I'm going to show you all the various pieces of equipment that we're going to be using. We're going to be prepping some land over here across, and I'll show you some land that we've already prepped. If you've seen that video, if you haven't seen that video, right here scrolling across will be a link to it. Check that out before we start this. It'd be pretty cool for you. We're going to get busy. We've got a lot of pieces of equipment to work with. We've got a lot of things to do, and I'll take you around. We also have a new tractor that we leased for the farm. So come along on the farm vlog today. We're going to have some fun. We got to get busy, get the drone in the air, get the GoPros going, and show you guys what we're doing. All right? Aren't the dogs good? They know when I have the camera. They just go chill out. It's pretty cool. So let's talk about all the equipment that's going on right now here on the farm. We have a grass drill seed driller. It's called the Haybuster 107C. I guess that stands for 107 inches or something like that. It's a 10-foot grain drill. It's a 3-bay grain drill. I'll show you how it works. Right over here, we have some Solucal and some grass seed. This is a contractor mixed grass seed. This has 20% ryegrass, annual ryegrass, and 80% fescue, Kentucky 31 fescue grass seed. And what we're trying to do is get grass to grow on this land quickly, set in, and not wash. That's the immediate goal right here. Now we're gonna climb up here. I'll show you some of the features of this machine before we get started so you know what's going on. So we've got the truck backed up basically here. There's a step right there. And then I'll step up on the tailgate of the truck. There are 3 hoppers. 1 hopper for fescue grass seed, 1 hopper for grain, 1 hopper for clover. We only have the grass seed one filled up right here, and we already filled it up. This is about 6 50-pound bags of fescue grass seed and ryegrass mix. We're going to seed this at about 28 to 32 pounds to the acre with this seed drill. If we go back here to our last hopper, we have Ladino clover. This is clover seed, white top, medium Ladino clover. Now the reason we're planting the white top medium Ladino clover is we want to fix nitrogen to the soil without putting fertilizer. The whole goal on our farm is to keep from using chemical fertilizers. We're gonna have to use fertilizer to get these seeds started. After that, the goal is no fertilizer, probably put down some lime or Solucal. I'll explain a little bit of that stuff later on as we get to broadcasting that out on the farm. So let's talk about the various pieces of equipment that we have over here. So we've got some logs that are down in the field. We've got to cut those logs up into sections about 10 or 12 feet long, and we're going to be loading them on to a dump truck that's down there. We're going to go down and look at all that stuff here in a second. We have a Ventrac. So we rented or leased a Ventrac machine for 1 year to help us clean up the farm. The Ventrac machine, if you haven't seen it, today will be your first introduction. We'll talk a whole lot more about it. We'll just show you how it works and what it's doing today. We won't go into detail. We're just going to be working the crap out of it, basically. All these little attachments down here are for the Ventrac, and that's part of our lease with Ventrac. We have a tiller, we have a 72-inch mower, we have a brush cutter, and we have a bucket. So we're going to be using this thing a lot on the farm. It's going to serve as a compact tractor for the farm. And yes, the little Kubota tractor that we had from Everything Attachments that we borrowed, we've basically used that for what we needed, and we've taken it back, and we're going to be using the Ventrac as the compact tractor here on the farm. Pretty cool. So the Haybuster has a step right here, and this is a leased piece of equipment also. And then you have a grate right here. You step up on the grate. You have 3 hoppers, grain, and clover seed. So inside hopper number 1, we already have it filled up with our fescue and ryegrass mix. And the reason we're drilling down fescue and ryegrass is that ryegrass will hit. In other words, it will sprout within about 48 hours or so. And then this hopper right here, that's what it looks like empty. That's empty. We would have some sort of grain in that also. This hopper right here is our clover hopper, and we're planting medium Ladino clover along with the fescue grass seed. And the reason behind planting ladino clover in with our fescue is that clover fixes nitrogen to the soil and it will lower our fertilizer burden on the farm. Hopefully we won't have to put chemical fertilizers at all on this once it gets sprouted, once it sets in and gets a good start. Now, let's take you around the front of the machine. I'll show you how it all works. So if this is your first time to the channel, guys, be sure you pound that like button, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you being here, and I hope to teach you a whole lot today. I hope you'll enjoy this farm work slash fun. I think it's fun, but it is hard work. So here is how the grain drill works. These are little gears. As you move this machine, as you turn, this wheel on the ground drags the ground, turns this shaft, which turns that, which turns this chain. This chain rotates everything in the machine. So as you're rolling, it's constantly rotating. This is the tube where the seed drops down. These little grooves right here catch the seed as they turn and drop a predetermined amount of seed down these tubes. Same thing with these tubes. So each section, each hopper 1, 2, 3, has a set of tubes that runs down into an output device right here. So the seed comes down here, drops through into this disc. There are 2 discs right here that open it up about that far. It drops the seed in, and then this big round wheel comes rolling back over top of it and covers it back up. And that's just how simple a no-till drill or a grain drill is. If you want to drill down pasture in your local area and you live in the United States, check at your local USDA office and you might be able to lease or rent one of these. We're paying $15 per acre, and there's a little meter on there that reads every acre that you trip. This is not leased from the county. This is nicer than the one that the county has. This is the workhorse of the farm. This is our John Deere Gator 825i. I am constantly grumbling at my Gator. When I start it up in the morning, it's smoking. It's got like 700 hours on it, something like that. And evidently, it just can't take the abuse that I give it. I don't know. We're gonna head down the hill here. There's a dirt pile. Got to spread that out pretty soon too. There's a washed out place down there, and we had several loads of dirt and gravel brought out recently. So here we are down on the creek. This is a John Deere 5065 tractor. Got my 6-foot Titan attachments rake we call Reiki Bobby. There's a coupon code in the video description for Reiki Bobby. We've started working with Titan attachments, and they're going to give us coupon codes for every piece of machinery that we buy. Pretty cool. This is my neighbor's F350 dump truck, and we're filling it full of logs, and you can see there's some maple logs in here. We're gonna load this thing up with logs, and you can see I've got some prepared already. He has a wood burning boiler system, and he burns firewood year round, so any firewood he can get is a definite plus for him. This is the Ventrac Tractor, and we have the rake attachment on the Ventrac Tractor. This thing is like a little bulldozer, a little 24 horsepower bulldozer for us. There's a whole lot going on today, guys, so we're gonna show you everything we have behind us. So we've got a bunch of trees that I cut. We're getting ready to build fences down through here, and we got to get these trees out of the way. We have the chipper hooked to the 240 tractor. I'm going to take the Ventrac over above the pond and take the 5065 over above the pond, and we're going to get busy working there. Then we basically have to drag all the stones and all the brush out of the dirt right here so we can drill it down with grass seed. My goal is to be on the grain drill by 6 p.m. this evening. Fingers crossed. I got a neighbor coming to help. Hopefully we can get all this work done. Cold start, John Deere 5065. Smoky. So if you guys aren't familiar with what a Ventrac tractor is, it's basically a compact tractor that can go up a steep angle. In other words, it can mow steep embankments. It's very stable. It has 8 tires, 8 wheels. And this is the rake attachment similar to what's on the John Deere 5065. So this basically articulates in the center. You'll get to see it working here on the farm in just a second. Cold start, Ventrac. Nice. This is like a lawnmower, a skid steer, and a bulldozer, and a brush cutter all built into one. So I have controls to raise and lower the bucket in the front, or whatever attachments on the front, And basically I just have one single handle that I move back and forth to move the bucket. I can also move this handle to rotate the bucket in a different direction, and then I drive it by pulling back or pushing forward. We'll get more into the Ventrac specifications later on as we use it more and get used to it. I've got to make sure I can get used to this machine before I start showing it to you. So let's back on up here and we'll roll on. We have picked up probably a dump truck load of rocks and stones and sticks off of this piece of property right here, and it's really smoothed out. I hope you guys got to see what the before looked like. What we're going to use the Ventrac for is to clear spots that we can't get to with the big tractor, and we're also going to use it as a broom. Basically, we'll set the bucket down and use it as a broom to push debris into the bucket on the tractor so we don't tear up the land like I've done right here. Cool? Wondering, on a farm this big, why are we getting a smaller landscaping tractor? It's because it's so super duper capable. I'd never used this tractor before yesterday, and it's a little bit of a learning curve. I used it for about 5 hours yesterday, and let me tell you, this thing is going to be an indispensable unit to have on the farm, especially for getting our landscaping and our farm smooth, nice, and beautiful. Now you might be wondering what all this debris is and what all this mess is. Well, this is what we scraped up with the Titan landscape rake back here off of this pasture. So basically we pulled to each corner. There are 3 corners, 1, 2, and 3. We've already cleaned up the first 2 corners, and we've got a big hole over here right behind this oak tree right there that we're dumping all the debris so that we fill in that big old hole over there. So what I'm doing is scraping all this stuff up, putting it in the bucket, taking it over there, dumping it in the hole, come back, sweep up with the Ventrac, and then move on to the next section of pasture. This will be pasture in 3 months. There will be grass growing on this. It will be beautiful, luscious, and green. You might be saying, well, Josh, why don't you just plow the bucket right into the pile right here and pick it up? Well, because it hits rocks and sticks and prevents me from filling the bucket up without gouging into the earth that's already there, and I don't want to gouge in and take any topsoil. All I want to take is this mess away. So that's why we're using the Ventrac right now as a broom to sweep up, smooth out, and move on to the next spot. To me, one of the most important parts of starting a farm, this is going to be a first generation farm, is making the land beautiful and making it a beautiful place that you can be proud of. That's where landscaping machines like this come into effect. You can't do it all with just a farm tractor. You just can't do it all. is a load of wood. We got how many more hours of daylight? We got 4.5 more hours of daylight. We got about 8 hours worth of work to do. Let's get busy. Fire up the wood chipper. That's a good tractor right there. That Massey Ferguson 240, 41 PTO horsepower. It runs that chipper like a champion. I'll be honest with you, I didn't think that that one was gonna go through. I like that chipper. That thing, it just never ceases to amaze me. This is the 3rd time I've used it, and it is just eating up some wood. I wish I had time enough to chip that whole big pile over there. This stuff is really good for the soil. We'll go back over it with the rake, spread it out a little bit, and it'll help the soil retain moisture. Rad. So with all 3 vehicles down here, we've got some shuffling to do because it's just me. So I'll get Mrs. Stoney Ridge to run me back and forth just a little bit. Once we get done drilling the first section, we'll probably run out of grass seed, we'll reload it and hit this really good. And the real goal here is we're on a hillside and I don't want it to erode. It's washed out a couple times and I don't want it to do it anymore. We got to get a grip on this, got to get it taken care of. Can't make the sun shine any more than that right there, guys. It got dark on me. Nothing I can do but go up, drop some implements, have everything ready to rock and roll in the morning. The rain's supposed to set in somewhere around 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. I gotta be up here, I gotta be out running this thing at daybreak. So we'll see you in the morning. Day 2, sun is up, guys. We got all of our equipment staged out here. We got the truck, got the Gator, it's got some grass seed on it. We've got the 240 tractor. Let's just walk over here and check out everything we've got laying around here. So this is a truck, grass seed right here. 240 tractor's ready to rock and roll. This was my grandfather's cedar and a tree fell on it just in the right place for you to lay a bag up there, cut it and let it fall in. So that's pretty cool. We've got the grain drill out here. After I said goodbye to you last night, I did 2 rounds around the field with the grain drill. You can see the little slits in the ground, and then I wanted to check it and make sure we're dropping enough seed. And we're gonna get busy today. It's supposed to rain in about 4 hours. Probably got 3 hours of work to do, so that's awesome. Let's get busy. So let's talk about what we got in the back of the truck here. In the orange bag is a contractor's mix, which is again 20 or 30% annual ryegrass, and the rest of it is fescue. This is pure fescue, and we've got a couple bags of pure fescue left over from last year. That's Kentucky 31 fescue. I've got some millet seed that I'll be seeding over in some areas that I know stay pretty dry. Plus, we're going to be doing a little dove hunting later on in the year, so I want to feed the wildlife a little bit. What we have in the plastic bags here is Solucal, and that's the first thing we're going to spread. Is we're going to spread 4 bags, so that's 200 pounds to the acre of Solucal. It's to help bring the pH of the soil to a more neutral level so that the grass takes. You can't just put grass seed on the ground and expect it to grow. The pH has to be right. It has to have nutrients, and there are no nutrients. There is no topsoil left on this land. This land has been farmed to death. We cut the trees on it. We rolled the stumps out. There's probably topsoil on 10% of it, which means nothing really. So our entire goal here is to mow and build topsoil over the next couple of years. So we won't be able to cut hay over here. We'll just be able to take care of the land and make topsoil grow. So over here, there's another area that needs to be seeded and a huge area behind us. Hopefully I can get the drone up in the air. The sun's coming up here in North Carolina. It is beautiful out here. So let's start loading up our hopper right here. And the way this guy works is there's a little apparatus that spins down in there and it slings it out with these blades. In other words, those are big cups. So I engage the PTO on the tractor, that thing slings and just broadcast spreads everything. So you'll be very surprised. It'll only take me 25 minutes or so to spread all of that. And then we'll get on the seed drill. The seed drill is 10 feet wide. So being a 10-foot wide seed drill, I'll overlap a little bit and that won't take long at all either. It just moves on. I can throw the tractor in high two and rock and roll with it. Doing this, you'll see that my lift is up high. It's up high, the PTO shaft will be turning, and it'll be slinging a bunch of this stuff. I'm gonna go out in the middle of the field and get started. There's a pull cord I'll pull, which opens a chute, which allows this stuff to flow. Cool. Right there. So we are in second gear, high range, and we are getting on up the road. I'm gonna say we're hitting that at about 12 miles an hour, maybe 13 mile an hour, something like that. I'll have to check the specs on the tractor. This is, I believe, an 86 Massey Ferguson 240. Good stuff. Please excuse the bad audio. So we've had our first breakdown. I'll show you what happened. This is the Clover Hopper. Clover is expensive. It's around 250 bucks to 300 bucks per 50-pound bag. It is expensive, okay? So these tubes right here, and I didn't know this, but these tubes, they drop the seed, and I did know that, but there's a little window right here. I'll get you close up in a second. There's a little window right there, and it fits full of seed. You've got a clogged tube, whether it's this tube here or one of these tubes down here. Well, what we didn't know is we had a clogged tube. So one of the tubes got clogged up. Now, what the guy didn't tell me, what he didn't show me, and we went through all this, we went to top to bottom on this machine. This is the third time I've used it, never even known this. There is an adjuster right here for how much clover you drop. We put it on setting number 1. Setting number 1 will set the right amount of clover seed out for me to finish my job. Well, he didn't show me, and we walked around this machine yesterday. So lessons learned, guys. If you're gonna rent one of these machines, you need to look it over really good, read the manual. I don't know, I can only blame myself really. But there's another adjuster over here, and this adjuster doesn't have a nut on it. So it's not holding it in place. It's not holding it on the number 1. Plus, somebody was running some other kind of seed through it and they had it set on number 12. So we're gonna hop up on the top of the seed drill here. If I don't fall in the pond, we'll hop up here real quick. And we're gonna take a look in our Clover Hopper. Almost empty over here. Plenty of clover over here. Almost empty. Mistakes cost you money. That's just it. Mistakes on the farm cost you money. That probably cost me about 40 bucks right there. That stupid little thing. And I've got to run back to the house. The equipment wasn't functioning properly. And I guess, what, stupid shit hurt, right? The equipment was not functioning properly. I feel like before he handed it off to me, he should have handed me a piece of equipment that had been looked over. And when we went through and adjusted it, we should have adjusted both sides. I don't know. Like I said, I only have myself to blame. You learn, you live, you learn. If you're not living and learning every day, then you're not doing anything. So, and if you're not messing up, you ain't doing nothing. So let's run over to the house. I've got some little vice grips. I'm gonna clamp a little vice grip on there, make sure it's set on one. And I, thank goodness, have some more clover seed over here. A lot of moving around today. Let's show you what I did to fix the problem here. Little bitty pair of vice grips, clamped it right in place. I'll just leave those on there. They're like a $1.50 vice grip. I don't have the right wing nut to tighten it down, and that's going to get the job done. So, gotta improvise. Let's get to work. Getting it done, guys. The rain has started. It's sprinkling down a little bit of rain. The last thing I need to do, as you can see, vehicles are clearing out. Last thing I need to do, we've gone through the whole pallet of goodies. I've got to spread some grass seed with the broadcast spreader. I can't get into every nook and cranny and corner out in these fields, so I'll go around the outside edge with a broadcast spreader and I'll spread this grass seed. This rain could not come at a better time. Absolutely perfect. What a rough couple days, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this vlog. I hope you've enjoyed just following me along. Basically 2 days in the life. I was going to try and get all this done yesterday. No way. Absolutely no way. I've been up here since sunup. It is now pushing 2:30 and we expected rain 2:30, 3 o'clock. So wind's picking up. We had a good time. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you next time on the Stoney Ridge Farm. Pound that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and click that bell icon. It'll notify you when I post a new video. We'll see you next time on the Stoney Ridge. All right? Woo! Got her done. Yeah. First thing I want to talk to you about is boogers. Let's get those out of your nose, boy. You've seen one? Fine. And then we're gonna get busy, okay? Okay.